Right, the next speaker is Aziwe Magida. Aziwe Magida is an organizational development practitioner, change management and impact assessment consultant. As an OD consultant, Aziwe is always dealing with elements of change management, especially the development and transformational types of change. Aziwe's passion is also in integrating the monitoring, evaluation, and reporting functions of an organization to inform strategy and impact. Aziwe has held various leadership positions and was a National Working Committee member of the National Steering Committee of the Progressive Women's Movement of South Africa from 2006 to 2012. As a member of the Progressive Women's Movement of South Africa, she was continuously involved in the development of strategies and policies for the promotion of gender equality for the women of South Africa. Aziwe was also a member of the Film and Publication Board, ensuring that the images and films were properly classified to guide parents so that children can be protected from harmful, inappropriate material. Ladies and gentlemen, Aziwe was also a board member of ABC Lwazi, where electronic material was developed to advance the development of children through the use of media. And currently, Aziwe is the chairperson of the Professional Board for Child and Youth Care Workers in the Ministry of Social Development. Join me in welcoming the chairperson of the Professional Board for Child and Youth Care Workers on stage, Aziwe.
Come and celebrate this birthday with you. We're told that you're 40, and they all say 40 is the beginning of all new things. And therefore, we think as the Child and Youth Care Board that it's most appropriate that we are here now when things are starting to happen, especially in light of the fact that we are now regulated. We're now able to be professionalized. Sorry. And it's time for new things. It's time for new beginnings. And in that light, we were able, in October 2014, where after a lot of hard work, a lot of back and forth with our regulations, with our code and ethics, we were able to, where the minister eventually said, I'm signing this off. And the sector because you said you want to be held accountable. You said you're tired of just practicing without being recognized. But before we start with our birthday celebrations, I want to acknowledge our Minister of Social Development, the Honorable Bathabile Dlamini. I want to acknowledge all the government, national, provincial government delegates that are here today. I'd like to acknowledge our international delegates who've come to join as we were all invited to this celebration. I'd also like to acknowledge the NSCCW patron, Utata Don Matera. I'd like to acknowledge the people and the reason we are here today, and that's the child and youth care workers. But last not least, the reason we exist, it's our youth who are with us today. As I had indicated earlier on, that the process was very, very long. But with the support of the minister at every step, we're able to say now, people are able to register. Now, according to our statistics with council, we've got close to 7,000 who have received registration numbers. That unfortunately was statistics from yesterday, but things happen very quickly and they move along. So it's close to 7,000 that have registration numbers. But because of the Child and Youth Care Board, we've been working behind doors all the time. We'd lock ourselves up. We were not, some of us, well, let me talk for myself, and we're not in touch with who's out there and who's really registering. I'd like all those that have got an actual registration number to stand up so we can see, do you really exist? So, Minister, you have seen for yourself that when we say we've got registration numbers, they do actually belong to people. Now that we've seen some of you around who have registers, but the big question that continuously comes at us is, who must register? And we look at your student, child and youth care worker, who are registered with any training provider. You look at those that are in their first year of undertaking practicals with an organization, students from foreign countries who wish to do practical learning within the country. We look at your auxiliary category, which is on a level 4. We look at your professional level, which is on NQF level 7 and 8. And we also look at all those employees, all those that are working within the sector, whether it is your lecturers, your accredited training providers, your supervisors, all those that are benefiting directly or indirectly. And we've also had the question as to why must I register? And it's because CYC has been recognized now as a profession in the passing of this legislation. This means we have a statutory body to champion the dignity of the profession and promote its development. CYC in South Africa has arrived. It is alive. We are no longer talking about will it happen, it has happened. But in us being registered, we now need to show up. You need to show up in the sense that the code of ethic is very clear. We saw the code of ethic earlier on in the morning session. It's very clear. What are the responsibilities towards your colleagues? What are your responsibilities towards the children? And what are some of the key responsibilities that you need to be implementing? Because it's when you say you want to be registered, you say you want to be held accountable, and therefore it is very important that that code of ethics becomes a way that you're working with. And of course, all of this work has happened under the banner of the South African Council for Social Services Profession, which we all call the Council, and I'm sure all of you refer to the Council. And within the council, there are 2 boards. There's the Social Work Board, which has been long established, and there's now the Child and Youth Care Board, and by bringing up the 2 boards, is about child and youth care has a need to be differentiated. Social work, like our cousins, could call out our sister, it's our brother. But child and youth care is unique. And there's a need for us to continuously be helping the sector to understand the differentiation. Because often we would be working in it and people just can't understand, what's this big fuss? You're just social workers anyway. And therefore, it's your responsibility to continuously be putting it on the table to say, how do we differentiate? And where's the differentiation? So that we're starting to establish it in a unique way without, because we do fall under the banner of social services. So as this board, we can comfortably say, yes, because of the support of the minister, we're able to deliver the regulations. But that's not the end of this board. It might be end of because this board is coming to an end. The term is coming to an end in August. So it is the end of our board. But the new board, you have seen already that the notices have gone out for you to start the nomination process. The new board has got quite a lot of work. Because as now that we're professionalized, it's important that we see what's so unique about it and how do we develop it further so that it starts getting ingrained. So around the development of professional degrees, where there's not enough universities at the moment that are providing child and youth care. And therefore, it's very important, if we are saying we're professionalizing it, the education part is very important. And especially at level 8. And then advocating for bursaries. Bursaries, bursaries, bursaries. I mean, I'm looking at the minister, you did see. Because if we want to build this sector, and we are aware of the circumstances of some of our child and youth care workers, where they come from, it's very important that the department and all other relevant departments, your funders, are starting to see it as unique and the need specifically for bursaries within the child and youth care worker. The articulation of auxiliary child and youth care towards a degree courses as part of their career pathing. That's where it now needs to be clearly focused that this is my career path. This is not just something I stumbled onto, but I want to build myself within this. And starting all the way from auxiliary level. And the development of possible areas of specialization. The development of a CPD policy, and the continuous education of our stakeholders. Sometimes even our stakeholders are not quite able to differentiate with child and youth care, and therefore the development of council, staff, and any other relevant departments that are dealing with it. Conscientization of DSD and the general public, and the conscientization, we know we can never leave the unions behind. Engagement of DSD and DPSA on staff establishment and the development of opportunities for child and youth care workers within government. And the advocating for an appropriate employment framework. We need to be very clear that we ensure that CYC understands what are the working hours, and the framework needs to then also guide in that way. And we felt, before we go out there and we say, you need to employ CYC workers, we need to start doing that ourselves as council. Now, around the code of ethic, I cannot emphasize it anymore further, is that it's so important that you're able to live by it. And therefore, the printing, the distribution, you put it up with your certificate, you put it up as long as you start living by the code of ethics. It's also very important that we continuously communicate, because through communication, that's the only way the sector and the broader South Africa is going to understand and be able to differentiate. What do we mean? What are the different things that CYCs do? And therefore, our commitment is also to the communication through the sector with the newsletter. Promotion of the concepts of supervision, because there have been quite a lot of challenges in this way, which were coming from the sector in relation to CYCs not being supervised by CYCs. So only when we build it will we be able to say, the supervision will happen by CYCs. We need to develop the relationship with HWCTA, and examine the role of the board. I mean, this is just stuff that we're starting to conceptualize as an assessment quality partner, because it's very important. If we say it's going to be of any credibility, we need to make sure that whatever is put out there is credible. And therefore, exploring, I can't say this any further, exploring the diversified settings. We need CYCs to be all over. There must be in education, there must be in health, there must be wherever the child is. But because of all the hard work that we did behind closed doors, it's so important that you encourage your colleagues. Encourage your colleagues to go out and register, even if they have some reservation, because it is actually a legal requirement. And we can never leave the employees behind. Therefore, the process of developing a code of good practice and responsibilities for employees so that they too know how to support you, but also at the same time what their responsibilities are. But all this work that we've done, where we're able to celebrate and saying we have delivered, they are starting to register, would not have happened without the whole board. When I arrived, because there's elections, there's appointment, and I was all confused, and I was a minister's appointee, who then just said, you will sit on that board. And I said, okay, because I listened to authority, yes, I will. I didn't know what a CYC was. So right in the beginning, I kept on saying, what? And why Isibindi? There was issues of online registration, and we're thinking, online registration, but that's online supervision. It's going to confuse with the technology and all of that. And it took time. And Zeni, my co-pilot, my co-chair, was the one who patiently, because I would keep asking, and I'm thinking, it doesn't make sense. Online supervision, all these aspects, who took us for the first few board meetings and made sure that we're understanding the basic, what is this about? So most of the information and the knowledge that I've gained about the child and youth sector and the passion that she came with, Zeni had quite a lot to contribute to that. So thank you to my co-chair. Then there's Reverend Barry Lodge, umfundisi, who at the beginning I thought, oh, I hope he doesn't come to the next meeting. Because the detail that we would have moved, and he goes, chair, and I'm going, oh Lord, I don't even know what he was talking about. Now he wants us, I thought this issue had been dealt with. Barry comes with a detail in his work that I feel has really contributed for us to say now we were able to register. So siyabulela mfundisi. Then there's Advocate Joe Nalane. The skills that Joe comes with, I think every board wants them. Joe will take a piece of paper, and within 3 seconds, he can tell you, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. No, you can't use that kind of language. He has become so valuable to the board that I'm wishing the next board all the best, because we were able to move at a very quick pace because of the skills of Joe. So it's thanks to Joe, and I know he's not here. Then there's Susan Sibia. Every board needs a politician. Because as we were getting all excited, Susan continuously brought us back on track, and she'd say, let's look at the context of South Africa. Let's look at the context of the continent. So in that way, she was able to bring us back to say, what's the context that you're working with? So in her absence too, it's always great to have a politician on board. Then we have Miriam Siluma, our academic, who was leading the education task team, who at all times brought her expertise around training and development. Because you can imagine, when we get together, we get all excited and want to get carried away, and Miriam goes, no, this is what you're able to do, and so that has been very valuable. Thank you, Miriam. There's Miss Nompumelelo Lutuli, or Mrs. I cannot make. Umpumi comes from the government sector and was so valuable in the sense that there was a lot of NGO sector happening within the board, those that came with the expertise. So Mpumi continuously brought in the balance and says, no, in government, it's not going to work. So it helped us to then also come in and zoom in to say, we can't get carried away with people that are within the board and the expertise. So how do we then realize that we are working with the whole sector? So Mpumi was very valuable in continuously bringing in what are the challenges within government and what are some of the limitations so that we are able to work with realistic targets. So thanks to Mpumi. There's Mel Alsop. Mel has the ability, when there's chaos reigning, where we are all just saying, it should go this way, it should go this way. And she sits quietly and we just throw in. And suddenly she just comes in with clarity and we're thinking, where were you? Because this is where the thinking is. So Mel brings that clarity and the ability to cut right through and has helped us to move faster than we would have been able to. And that clarity also comes in her writing. We were able to articulate our position as a board, mainly because of her writing skill. So thank you to Mel for that. There's Barrington Makunga. Barrington brings a lot of experience from the ground. So as we were getting and starting to theorize, he would keep bringing us back and saying, that's not what's happening down there. So let's be realistic with what's happening down there. And yes, we need to theorize because it's important. So he was always able to bring us back to what's really happening on the ground. Thanks, Barrington. Finally, there's Sis Pat Magida. Sis Pat has the ability, an excellent ability for questioning, where as we're going, she will then come with the questions where we're thinking, we're not there, this is where we're discussing, but her questioning techniques have also helped us to really come in. So thanks to Mrs. Pat. So that's the board, that's the outgoing board. And this is a board that really worked. This is a board where if things were scheduled for 9 o'clock and I said we are going to meet at 7 o'clock, it would be we will meet at 7 o'clock. This is a board that called me at all hours of the day, and they would work at all hours to make sure that whatever we had set ourselves as a target. And because of all that commitment, we were able to deliver the regulations. Can I ask all the members of the board, if you're present, please just stand up so the sector can see you. Thank you.
Aziwe, on behalf of child and youth care workers in this auditorium and all other child and youth care workers in South Africa, I would like to say thank you to you and the board members for making sure that you work for those long hours to ensure that you give opportunity to all the child and youth care workers, for the child and youth care workers to register and to ensure that child and youth care workers get enough time, even those that didn't have time to register when we were given time before. And yes, child and youth care has arrived. Yes, it has. I'm a testimony. And as child and youth care workers, we want to tell you that we are going to shape up as you asked us. Yes. Thank you very much.